If you want to improve your public speaking, there's an unlikely source you can turn to find brilliant public speaking advice. And that is the world of comedians. But I'm not talking about the jokes that comedians make. To be fair, I would actually tell you to stay away from the jokes. But there's so much more that public speakers can learn from comedians. Now, of course, we all know that comedians are entertainers. Primarily, they're there to make people laugh and to have a good time. But as public speakers, aren't we trying to do something similar? Maybe not there to make people laugh raucously. We don't want people to be having a hilarious time, but we like to make sure people are enjoying the speech that we're giving and that it's not boring and dry. Often we're trying to impact people, to motivate people, to get people to do something. So we can learn a lot about how comedians actually go about engaging their audience to the point where they're hanging off their every word. You can almost call comedians attention engineers. They're so good at engineering the audience's attention and keeping all eyes fixed on them that really, as public speakers, we should be sitting up and listening or watching how they go about doing it. So in this episode, I want to break down how public speakers should be more like comedians and that it's not about the jokes. But why comedians? They really work hard on building that connection with the audience. And if anything, comics are up against it. They have so many people. They could go so wrong for them. They could have the audience turn against them. They could be heckled. So it's really hard for comedians, and they're held to a very high standards. As public speakers, we don't generally experience as much as comedians do. Most of the time, as public speakers, we're preparing for giving the speech and trying to give out the best content we can. But really, comedians are focused more on how the audience will feel moment by moment, even down to the second. There's several ways then that comedians go about achieving this super engineered audience attention. Now, there's three areas I wanted to focus on about comedians and how they impact their audience, how they get their audience to be completely focused on them. First of all, timing. The comedian focuses on timing. Now, obviously, in comedy, in jokes, timing is essential. If you really want to get the audience on board, it's all about the timing. It's not just about punchlines and being funny. It's about how you set it up, pausing for a moment to allow the audience to hear what you just said, and then delivering the punchline in the right moment. That key sentence which brings it all together and makes it the joke, that is what they work on relentlessly. And public speakers can do the same. We can work on our timing. We can work on our pacing. Obviously not with the same goal to make people laugh. Our goal is to connect with people, to impact them, and to get them to comprehend what we're saying. And we do that with pacing, pauses, and timing. The structure of our speech, where we put certain things. You think about a comedian, they obsess over the timing of their jokes. They obsess over how they say things and where they do it in the presentation, in the comedy sketch. We want to do the same thing. We want to let our main points land like a comedian will allow his joke to land. Give it the time it deserves. Take a moment and let it sink in. You can practice this with your next speech. When you write your key point for a certain topic or a question, leave a few seconds for people to mentally answer that question or absorb the point you've just made before you move on to the next one. If you find that anxiety around public speaking is something you deal with, especially before a speech, but even during a speech, go to my website. The description down below has a link that will take you to a free video training. It's about 20 minutes long, which is going to show you 7 practical and effective steps to lower the anxiety you feel around public speaking. Go watch that training. Use it to help yourself, and that way you'll be able to lower your anxiety. Completely free. It's in the description below. Please go check it out and lower the anxiety you feel about public speaking in general. Another area that comedians have absolutely got down is storytelling. Oh, I love this. When a comedian, when they are working their way through a story, they layer it bit upon bit. And they don't use stories that you can't relate to. The best comedians will talk about things that happen and that the audience can go, yeah, I've experienced that. I've been through that. I remember that. They don't wander too far from those things. If they start talking about something the audience has no experience with, well, then they will lose their audience. They can't picture themselves in that situation. We have to do the same thing. When we tell stories, and storytelling is so important as part of a presentation, we have to make sure we are using relevant, everyday, common, understandable stories. When we say stories, I think a lot of people, especially public speakers, start to think, oh, well, it needs to be once upon a time. This big story that I'm going to tell is going to fill a lot of my speech. But comedians do it best. They tell little anecdotes. They use little illustrations. They take the point they're trying to make, whatever it is, and they illustrate it. They don't make a big hoo-ha. They're not going into stories which are massive. They are using everyday moments, family strife. They're using conflicts at work. They're using everyday products that people come across. These things that people know. So why are you going and using stories that are big, unbelievable, that people can't wrap their heads around? Use the same format, the same process that the comedian uses. Use a story that people have every single day, that they've experienced every single day, because that's where the impact is. Tie it tightly to the point that you are making, and you will find that your audience is hooked on what you are saying. Watch how comedians do it. Go and watch a comedy special from your favourite comedian and see how they use simple, everyday experiences to create unimaginable connection with their audience. The third area I wanted to focus on was movement. I've never seen a comedian standing still. They move constantly. They're up and down the stage. They're doing silly movements. They don't care about over-exaggerating a point. They really go for it because the way their body moves attracts the audience's attention. It hooks all eyes on them. This is something that we can use as public speakers. We don't use it enough. We might gesture at one point, move our hand. You see comedians holding microphones. You see that they wander up and down the stage. They might be drinking out of a bottle, but they keep going. They don't stop. They keep moving the entire presentation. So why do we as public speakers stand there and move our hand a little bit and barely even express and emote with our face? It's not interesting. I'm sorry. You have to get better at movement. You have to move to attract the attention of your audience. You have to be engaging. And then you have to bring all of these together. There's more things we can learn from comedians about volume, pitch, pace, modulation of voice, all these things. There's so much we could learn from them. They are public speakers, but they've got a specific angle. But when we bring all these things together, the pauses and pacing and timing, the stories that people can relate to, and the movement on stage to attract people's attention, we can engineer, just like comedians, the attention of our audience to get all eyes on us. So, the next time you've got a speech to give, the next time you've got a presentation at work to lead, you can look to comedians as a brilliant source of public speaking help. and use the things you see there to help engineer the attention of your audience.